Hello, I'm Dr. Duke, and I'm joined today by Alex Newman. And we get so much mail, Alex, you and I here at Freedom Project from our various shows. You, of course, host the Newman Report for Freedom Project. You also have Liberty Sentinel News, which is your own company that you're the president and the CEO and creator of. And I, of course, am a university professor as well, and so we do shows here for Freedom Project, and we get a lot of questions that we can't answer. So both of us do, separately and collectively. So we put together a short show called The Brain Trust. We got that actually from one letter from a viewer out in California and said, why don't you and Alex sit down? That's a brain trust I'd like to listen to. So we took her suggestion, and here is The Brain Trust. And what the premise is every time we meet for the Brain Trust, we're going to take 3 questions from the audience out there. Anybody can send in questions from anywhere. We'll give you the information at the end of the show. And Alex and I will respond to the first 2 questions. And the third question, we will not have seen it beforehand. So it's a complete surprise. And we'll see what we get. And today's first question for our inaugural episode of Brain Trust comes from Marcus in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. Both Donald Trump and Joe Biden have been accused of inappropriate language, assaulting women, and being racist, broken-down old men. What is the real difference between them, Alex?
Wow, and this is one we could talk about for 2 hours at least. But for one, Donald Trump builds things. Joe Biden is a politician. So you have one who creates, one who taxes and redistributes. For two, I think in terms of political thinking, to me at least, it's clear that Donald Trump loves America. Mm-hmm. And I don't agree with every policy he's ever pursued, but it's clear he loves this country. It's clear he is not a fan of globalism. And it's clear that he drives the elites absolutely nuts. And so I support that. Obviously, he's been the most pro-life president that we've had in my lifetime. He has taken a wrecking ball to the machinery of global governance, while Joe Biden essentially seems to hate America, loves the idea of slaughtering more and more babies with our tax money, Planned Parenthood and all these abortion places, loves the idea of giving more of our sovereignty to the United Nations, loves the idea of more taxes, growing the government even further. So, really, I think aside from maybe some of those personal qualities, I'm not sure that I'd describe Donald Trump in those terms, although he used to have some of those issues. In terms of their thinking about government and America, they couldn't be more different.
Yeah, I think you said it very well. I would add to that Joe Biden is a 50-year insider. Joe Biden has never really held a real job.
That's right.
He is somebody who his whole life, like Bernie Sanders. How are you a communist, all right, and spent your whole life working only for government, and you have 3 houses? You're a millionaire. How does that happen? That's not what the founding fathers envisioned. Joe Biden has become a swamp creature. He does not know anything outside of big globalist government. I'm not even sure he believes in America anymore. He believes in America as part of some kind of global coalition. I would also say that Donald Trump, on the other hand, is an outsider. Has he made mistakes? You're damn right he's made them. And how could he not make them? He's an outsider. He hasn't spent 50 years making backroom deals, making promises he couldn't keep, having huge, powerful forces in the swamp cover up his own lies and racism and all the stupid things that we've heard from Joe Biden. Trump's an outsider and a builder, like you say. He also loves America. Biden's an insider. He's not a builder, he's a taker. And he's also somebody whose seeming cognitive decline is much more measurable and obvious than anything you have with Donald Trump. On to our next question. This is from Shannon in Taos, New Mexico. I am a senior in high school, graduating next June. I'm under a lot of pressure to start applying for college, but the universities just come across as bigoted, expensive, and anti-American. Make me feel better about the decision not to go. I'll start with this one. As a 27-year university professor, Shannon, you are exactly right. They don't come across as bigoted, arrogant, anti-American. They are those things. And they're going to charge you a whole lot of money for the privilege of sitting there and listening to them. My advice to you, Shannon, is don't go right away. Unless you've known from the time you were 5 years old you wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer, something that required accreditation, don't go. Take a year or 2 off. I read somewhere that the average age of a college graduate now is about 24, 25 years old, which means kids who go to college at age 18, it's taking them 5 and 6 and 7 years to get a 4-year degree, which makes sense because they're not prepared for college life. If you're a smart kid, go intern, pick an internship somewhere you just always wanted to be, pursue something that you love. Try to go to, if there's a company or an industry, something that you like, even if it's the performing arts, if you have some talent, take a stab at something. Live at home with your mom and dad, try to save a little money if you can work a few jobs, do some interning. if you wait to go to college at age 20 instead of age 18, you're going to have some money in the bank. At 20, you're going to have a much better perspective of what you want to do with your life. You'll have had some experience in the real world. So when you do get to college at age 20, you're still going to graduate 24, 25 when all those other kids do, but you will have much more wisdom and insight into it. Nobody needs college, Shannon, at age 17.
Yeah, I agree entirely, and I would go even a step further. Maybe I'm really old-fashioned, but I would say, the concept of motherhood has been so denigrated by the university elites, by the establishment. Of course, we know the Rockefellers funded this massive campaign to promote feminism. We know the CIA was involved in promoting this, funding Miss Magazine. There's nothing wrong with being a wife and a mother, and you don't need a college degree for that. In fact, you're probably better off not having one. And second of all, if you do want to go out in the workforce, you still don't need a college degree. You don't want to be carrying around this ball and chain of $200,000 worth of debt that you're not going to be able to lose in bankruptcy. You're going to have to pay it back. For what purpose? So you can have and I went to college for a couple of years, and I thought, frankly, it was really dumb. It was a waste of time and a waste of money. I didn't borrow any money to do it. I certainly wouldn't have. But most of it was Marxist indoctrination. I can get Marxist indoctrination for free. There's YouTube today, right? I don't need to spend thousands of dollars to get that. So, if you need a skill, there are lots of ways to acquire that skill. And the only instance, as you said, Duke, the only instance where I would say, maybe you need a degree is if it's in a field where you actually need a degree, like medicine, like law, like engineering. But even then, be really careful. There's only a handful of colleges that I would ever give my children my blessing to attend. They can do whatever they want once they turn 18. But, I really don't think it's necessary in today's world. If you look at a lot of the most successful entrepreneurs, they shunned college. So, I don't think it's necessary. I think you're making a good choice.
Yeah, I do too. And think about this. Whenever you decide if you don't go at 17, maybe wait a year or two, you're going to have a better sense of what's working for you and what's not working. You'll have found something. You may have explored a couple of your dream jobs or internships and it didn't pan out the way you like them. That's okay. Figure out where you want to be and then take the schooling you need when you need it. Most jobs don't require a 4-year degree, 2 years of which are just gen ed classes that are random, right? You perhaps target your education a little bit better. Maybe all you need is a 2 years associate degree. Maybe all you need is 4 or 5 classes in a certain area to be able to give you a little bit more clout. So the longer you put it off and the more life experience you get, the better you're going to know what you want and the better then your options are to getting there without necessarily having to go to college. Final question for the opening program of Brain Trust with Duke and Alex Newman. And this question comes from Indianapolis, Indiana. It's Joseph. Is it just me? Now, this is the one we haven't seen before, so this is you and I are going to have to respond on the spot here. Is it just me, or are there a lot of other Americans out there who feel that professional sports have jumped the shark? I'm not watching anymore. Okie dokie. You start that one off for us, Alex.
Well, I'm almost embarrassed to admit, but not really, that I never really watched professional sports to begin with. But I can tell you that if I did, and I happened to be sitting at a restaurant the other day, I saw these goobers running around with Black Lives Matter on their jerseys, and they had Black Lives Matter painted on the court, and the ads were about Black Lives Matter. You know what? We know about Black Lives Matter. It's a Marxist organization founded by self-proclaimed Marxists. They're conjuring ancestor spirits, as we talked about recently at the Newman Report. I have no need for that. I have no need to pay money or spend my valuable time watching a bunch of overpaid babies whine about their particular political views. No, it's just I think professional sports has become a disgrace. It's an embarrassment, and I never watched it before. But if I were watching it, I would have stopped now. So
yeah, growing up, I grew up on sports. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, where they were Cleveland Browns mad. There was the Cleveland Indians. You had the Cleveland Cavaliers. You have all 3 major sports. So I grew up very much in a sports home and watched way too much sports, to tell you the truth. But I can't watch it anymore. So my attitude is that I watch the sports. I turn on the Ohio State game. Even college sports has gotten that way with me too, with all these athletes now protesting, all these athletes now demanding whatever that means. You just got a scholarship you got a 4-year scholarship to a university that would cost you probably $300,000-$400,000 to graduate from. You get everything free. They pay for all your meals. They give you free room and board. They buy your textbooks. They provide free tutors for you. And that's not enough. You're exploited college athletes, right? Enough. So I can't even watch the college game anymore. I mean, watching professional sports now, you used to watch it to get away from life. You have a crappy day. You got a situation where, it's another long day at school. You're exhausted. The dog's sick. All these problems. You turn on global warming, for God's sake. The world's liberals are trying to scare you 6 ways to Sunday. It was nice to be able to turn on a football game and just watch. Right? Just watch guys playing a game, right? No politics, no lectures, none of this nonsense. You watched a game, you forgot everything for a couple of hours, and then you went back to your otherwise humdrum life. Now they're part of the problem. I'd rather watch CNN, for God's sake, because I know what I'm getting. Because what am I expecting from CNN? CNN lies and cheesy socialism pushed in my face. I expect it. I'd rather get it from I'd rather watch Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo kissing each other for 2 hours, telling me why I was wrong about everything, than turning on a basketball game and see $100 million guys with contracts running up and down the court, playing no defense, by the way, and lecturing me on their shirts and their tennis shoes and all the commercials, like you said, lecturing me about my lack of social justice bona fides.
Yeah, no, it's getting so crazy, Duke. And a couple of the most recent Super Bowls, or I call them stupid bowls, I've seen the halftime show. People have sent me the clips on YouTube, and they're just like pushing it in your face. Half naked women strutting their butt around like anybody wants to see that, like wearing the demon horns. Madonna with her,
Lady
demons.
Gaga.
Yeah, it's just disgusting. It's grotesque, and I have no need for that stuff. If I wanted that, I'd go to a porn website or something. I don't need to watch it. And you got families around, you've got kids around. Frankly, I'm beyond disgusted with professional sports, and it really makes me think of the bread and circuses of the old Roman Empire. It's just, stop worrying about what sports team did what and what political opinion some goober who chases a pigskin up and down a piece of grass thinks, and start doing some legitimate reading. I mean, you do the classics. Go read some classic literature. Go, educate yourself on something that matters. Don't watch grown men lecture you with their opinions because they're good at chasing a piece of pigskin around.
And for me, the last straw was, at first, at least the owners stood up to these guys. Look, we're paying your salary. We're paying you tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to play a game. Can you quit hurting our brand? Can you quit making us look bad, driving people away? And now you got the owners woker than the players. That idiot, good Roger Goodell coming out and we're giving our NFL players carte blanche to engage in social activism all we want. Well, good, you do that, but I'm not paying attention now because I don't watch football for social justice purposes.
I think they're going to implode. I think they are committing slow motion suicide.
So far, the numbers are way down for all those sports.
And they're going to keep going down. Nobody watches sports to see that garbage.
And here we are at the end of our first episode of The Brain Trust. And so send us your questions. They can be frank questions. They can be tricky questions. They can be obscure questions. We'll do the best we can. So if you have a question for The Brain Trust, Dr. Duke and Alex, email it to askduke@fpeusa.org. That's askduke, AskDuke @fpeusa.org. Consider us your personal counselors for whatever problems you have. Thanks for watching.